Welcome to Coaching Through the Bible, Chapter 2, the story of Noah. Last week we focused on accountability, which is a huge topic in everyone's lives, but also specifically in coaching. And this week I want to focus with you on the difference between living in a comfort zone and living in a growth zone, and talk about it through Noah and the world in which he lives and the people who live around him, and sort of understand where he is and where they are, and by virtue of playing one against the other, understanding a greater sense of what it means to exist in a comfort zone and what it means to exist in a growth zone. So let's explore that world for just a second. The world in which Noah lives is a dark place. It's bleak. It's more than just evil. It's fundamentally corrupt in every single way. Other than Noah and his immediate family, there's nothing positive about that world at all. No one is going to be saved. No thing is going to be saved other than Noah and his immediate family. So it's so bad. It's so bleak. It's so horrible. It's so corrupt. It's sort of poison in the air at every single moment. You can't survive in that environment. And that environment cannot continue. It has to end. It has to be changed. It has to be torn apart and then rebuilt from the beginning, which is the whole purpose of the flood and what God tells Noah. And so he tells Noah that he's going to survive. He's going to survive by virtue of building an ark and putting all the animals in the ark and living in the ark for the period of the flood. And Noah goes about doing his work. The rest of the world continues to operate and exist in this horrible, evil, terrible world without fail. And Noah continues to build that ark, not just for days and weeks and months, and he doesn't do it privately. He does it publicly, and he does it for decades, year after year after year. Noah by nature is not a builder. That's not what he does. He's actually a tool maker. If you look in some of the commentaries and what his job is, he's very much farm related, not animal related, nor a builder in terms of buildings or arks. But he goes about this task because God has asked him to do that. That's his job. And the people around him are not unaware about what he's doing. In fact, some of the literature talks about the idea that they came and asked him, "Hey, Noah, what are you doing?" And he says, "I'm building an ark." And they asked him, "Why are you building an ark?" "God is going to destroy the world through a flood. I'm going to survive in the ark." And they mock him. They make fun of him. They laugh at him. They poke fun at him. It's a joke, the idea that this guy is building this wooden ark and he's going to rescue his family and save all the animals and blah, blah, blah. And Noah keeps going about his business. But they continue to operate and exist in that world. And we have to ask why. It's terrible. It's horrible. So yes, some you could say are born into it, and so they don't know any better. They don't know any different. Some have grown up in it, so they don't remember a time when it wasn't like that. Others are the one perpetrating it, and so they do remember a time, but they're continuing in this way. And we have to ask the question as to why. And perhaps one solution or one explanation is that that's what they know. And it's the devil that they know. And so as long as you know the circumstance that you're in, you're comfortable in there. It's normal for you. It's like that couch that you sit in and it just feels like a nice embrace, even if it's terrible, horrible, evil, and bad, corrupt. It's the comfort zone. And there's no growth in that comfort zone. Nothing changes in the comfort zone. You can't become a different, better, improved person in the comfort zone. You habitualize and you ritualize and you normalize to comfort rather than growth. And God says to Noah, "Look, Noah, this world is over. We're going to redo it. And when we start it with you and your family, you have to go into the ark." The ark for you, Noah, is your growth zone. It's smaller. It's not going to be easy, but that's where the world has to begin again and regenerate itself in that smaller, confined growth zone. And Noah goes and he does it. Builds the ark, moves into the ark, lives in the ark, takes care of the animals for an entirety of a year until the land dries and he comes out of the ark with his family and they rebuild the earth. With the intent, obviously, of it being a much better world, a much more benevolent society, a much more giving society, a less corrupt world, a world of purity and positivity and blessing. And so that's what you have, is this dichotomy of these people living in that comfort zone, and Noah coming out of that comfort zone, going into that growth zone, and changing the world for having gone into that growth zone in that way. When he goes into that place, he becomes the manager, CEO, chef, doctor, whatever, for all the animals and all the people that exist inside the ark. It's an entirely different world for him. He comes out different, and what happens to him after is not the focus of today. But really understanding the difference between comfort and growth. So how is it possible that they stay in that growth, in that comfort zone, those people? How is it, for year after year, decade after decade, how is that possible? So you have to understand sort of the psychology of comfort and how that works. And there's a parable that's told about a young man walking in the streets with his son. The man is actually a drunk. He's a recovering drunk. The son has been working for years to get the father to improve. And it seems to be working. One day they're walking in the street, and in the distance the son sees another drunk lying on the side of the road. People throwing things at him, children kicking him, making fun of him. It's raining, it's pouring. It's a horrible sight to see. And the son is hopeful that the father will see this and realize that he has moved out of that zone. The father runs up to the man, and instead of trying to help the man out of his stupor, to get him into a better state and to change him and to make him grow, he asks him, "Hey, where did you get that drink? Is that bar open? I'd like to go there myself." Because as much as people want to grow, it's hard. And there's difficulty involved. And there's work involved. And there's toil involved. And the growth zone is not comfortable in any way, shape, or form. And just like there's no growth in the comfort zone, there's no comfort in the growth zone. I've heard that said by a lot of different people, and it's quoted in the name of so many people. So I won't give a specific source for it today. But that father, his comfort zone is not a great place, but it's what he knows. It's the devil he knows. What's out there in the growth zone is scary. It's unknown. It's hard, and he doesn't want to go there. And the people in Noah's time are the same. They like life the way it is, as crazy as that might seem to us looking at it from the outside. As hard as it might be to believe that they wasted and spent so much time in that space for so many years. Comfort versus growth. It's always the case. When we want to improve our lives, enhance our existence, do more with who we are, accomplish greater things, move up in levels in terms of what we can do and how we can have impact in the world, it doesn't happen in the same place. We have to do additional things. We have to grow, and the only way we grow is by doing more. To get to the places we want to go, we have to do things we've never done before, and that's growth. Whether that's maturity, whether that's educational, intellectual, action, whatever that growth has to be, we have to go do that in whatever area of our lives, whether we want to improve relationships in our homes, with our spouses, with our children, whether we want to make a better work environment for our colleagues, employees, employers, partners, clients, whether it's communal, whatever that area is. It's not going to happen in a comfort zone. You just plateau, stay where you are. To go next, you have to move out of that comfort zone into the growth zone. And to sort of appreciate that, one has to sort of think about why somebody would want to do that, right? You have to come across an understanding as to why somebody would want to move from comfort to growth. So it's not an obvious thing. So it's sort of two ways to sort of think about that from other coaching literature. One, I saw in Stephen Covey's book, in the idea that he talks about it with respect to proactivity, but the idea of your area of concern versus your area of influence. When you operate inside your area of influence and you appreciate what it is that you can actually do and how much you can change yourself and other people by focusing in not on what you're concerned about, which is often beyond what's possible for you, but your area of influence, then you're going to want to grow because you can do something there. You see how you can do something there. Then you're going to want to grow. Noah perhaps looked at the rest of the world and thought, I'm concerned about the rest of the world. I can't do much about the rest of the world. My area of influence is focused inside the ark on the people inside the ark, and that's where I can grow and that's where I can do. So focusing and understanding the difference between area of concern versus area of influence might be a value here for somebody who's thinking about comfort versus growth. And then separately, but no less importantly, is something that I learned in a course in executive coaching and leadership, is making a business case. Really simple, putting it out there, plus minus, yes, no, why I should or shouldn't do something. What's the business case for doing something? Why should I try that new business? Why should I start that new friendship, that new relationship? Why should I start that exercise program? What are the pros and the cons? What are the benefits that accrue to me by virtue of starting? What additional benefits, what you might call concentric circle 2, concentric circle 3, that come by virtue of changing my life in this way, by growing rather than simply staying comfortable? When people begin to sort of think about those things, they realize that growth is not as hard as they thought it was, and it's incremental, and that at each level, when they celebrate their immediate wins, they can change and they can get out of that comfort zone and move into that growth zone. Because here's the additional truth. Well, I've stated to you before that there's no growth in the comfort zone and there's no comfort in the growth zone. Here's another truth. The comfort zone might be beautiful, but nothing beautiful ever grows in the comfort zone. Have a great week. Continue to grow. Continue to move forward. Continue to improve your life and try to have as much impact as you possibly can. Take care.